Back again. What's up, YouTube? So I'm trying to get some thoughts across. I first off want to apologize for the delays on my Thailand videos. I am back from Thailand, but I have so much footage that it has become difficult for me to edit it. So I'm working on that. Got to get that figured out. Meanwhile, so I've been doing some trucking, and this is my first time getting my truck stuck. So my truck is stuck here in the mud, and it's got me thinking some thoughts about just like universal timing and the things that we go through on a daily basis that we may sometimes perceive as an inconvenience or even as things not working out in our favor. And in my experiences lately, I'm starting to realize that those things are not necessarily anything negative. They're not inconveniences, but instead they are the universe, they are spirit, they are our divine intuition and divine timing playing out in the third dimension, which is then allowing us to be exactly where we need to be when we need to be there. So had I made it to my destination instead of ending up on this road, then I would be elsewhere. And so it gets me thinking about just like how we are all intertwined on a cosmic quantum level. And if I were at another location, I wouldn't be here. And that means that I would displace other people or have interactions that I was not meant to have. I could have literally dodged a wreck. I could have dodged, just about any number of things by simply ending up on this road. And so funny enough, the GPS sent me down this road, but when I got down here, there was a road closure. And so because of the road closure, I had to turn to try to get back on the road. And it just so happens that the road I turned down is just nothing but mud. And it got me stuck in these ruts, right? So I'm here, and I guess I just want to make this video to convey some thoughts, to just talk about how the universe guides us to certain places. Deep, I'm stuck in there, that don't seem to make sense to us, but the universe always has a plan. And so, for instance, like when I got here, I guess that's my next thought, is like, there are certain signs that will come into play to let you know that the universe is sending you the right way, right? So you may get frustrated, and when we get stuck in that third dimensional thinking, we're kind of like, okay, wait a minute, this isn't right. You get mad, you get upset, but I'm coming to find out that like there's these little signs, there's these little clues, right, that the universe will give you to let you know you're in the right place. And so I had noticed earlier, I was listening to a podcast that was talking about being aligned, divinely aligned, and when I as soon as they mentioned being divinely aligned, there was like this hawk that flew out over the highway, and it flew right over me, right? And I was just thinking like, okay, well, all right, that's like a sign right there, right? So funny enough, when I pulled down this road and I get stuck, when I pulled down the road and got stuck, there was I get out the truck, I'm trying to get it unstuck and everything. I'm kind of getting frustrated. I'm like, damn, this is gonna mess up my time, everything, right? Well, I turn and I look, and it just so happens that like up here over these power lines back here, this hawk comes and lands and then like takes off. And I'm just like, all right, cool. That's the sign right there, right? Like, so the universe, and I guess I'm going into another thought here, is like the universe sets us up to perceive things in a certain way. And this may get a little more complex, and I'll have to talk about this more in other videos, because I find myself having a spiritual awakening. So I'm going to try to dissect that and talk about that more in other videos. But the universe sets us up with these with impressions, with interpretations, right? With signs. And you can take those signs however you want to, but keep in mind that the universe is using that to show you something. So when you take those signs, let's say in a negative perspective, then you continue to see those signs and symbols, then you're going to continue to interpret that negatively. And as you interpret that negatively, it's going to constantly put you in a bad mood, and you're like, oh, nothing's working for me, nothing's going my way. And then what happens in turn, and I am getting a bit off the subject, but this is important for me to get across. So what happens in turn, as you begin to see those things in a negative light, is that when you are in a divine process and your manifestations are just on the other side of that, you start to go the wrong way because you're now interpreting the universe's signals as negative. So the signs that are supposed to show you that you are on the right path, you're seeing them in a negative light and then saying, no, that's not for me, and you're going another way. Whereas the universe is literally trying to show you you're this close, right? Like you're getting closer and closer and closer. And that's what I'm having to come to the understanding of, is that like, okay, when the universe shows me a sign, to take it and to interpret it in a positive manner, even if at that time it doesn't seem to be positive. Because what'll end up happening is, if, okay, so for instance, the hawk, I could have taken that hawk and be like, something negative, such and such. But in that instance, I would have then I would have lost the path, right? I would have lost the path that the universe was sending me on. So instead, fortunately, I was just in the right state of mind, because I've been kind of working on my way of thinking, that I was able to interpret the hawk immediately as a positive sign. So when I get here to this situation and my truck is stuck, right, then I can interpret that, seeing the hawk again, another hawk, as, okay, that's a coincidence, or simply put, that's a coincidence. But what it in actuality is divine timing, right? That is the universe showing me that is spirit, right? Showing me that I am right where I'm meant to be, so that I could see that this is the next step in my evolution, right? What's happening here is the next step in my growth process, so that, and I mean, it compounds so much, and it becomes so complex, it's difficult to explain. But because of those symbols and those signs, and here as I'm talking about this, I'm watching this hawk fly away again. But those signs and those symbols, they begin to compound, right? Like spiritual interest. So because I'm seeing these signs and symbols, and I'm able to recognize that, okay, I'm on the right path, then next time I'll see an opportunity, or I'll have a chance to do something differently, and I'll see that sign, and I won't have to think about, oh, wait, is this the right thing? Oh, wait, is this the right? Wait a minute, maybe I'm making a mistake. Like, no, I don't have to think about that now, because I've allowed the universe to come into my life. I've allowed spirit to come into my life, and I've gained this unison. I've transitioned into unison with spirit, rather than fighting it and seeing the negativity. I'm seeing the positive aspects, and I understand the symbols. So now that it's come into my life, when those difficult moments come up, I have that to look at and to use for a frame of reference to make my judgment calls, right? And so I guess that's what I'm trying to get across. I mean, that's it. There's so much more that I could go into, but mainly I'm just trying to explain that, like, for people that are seeing things, and this is probably the biggest takeaway from this, if you are seeing things, or if you're finding yourself triggered by something repetitively over and over and over again, and it's bothering you, you feel like maybe people are out to get you, it's putting you in a negative mindset, you can't trust anybody, your relationships are falling apart, your jobs aren't working out, your money's not going right, the reason that these things are happening is likely because you are not in alignment with your spiritual self, with your higher self. You are not in alignment with the universe, right? You are, in essence, going the wrong way, okay? So, for instance, like if you equate it to the story of like Jonah and the whale, like he was supposed to go one place, didn't go there, and ended up instead having to, go through these trials and tribulations to then get him to that place. And I'm not trying to get religious, but that's just a parable, a story that you could equate it to, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that you're seeing these triggers, and you're taking those triggers as negative signs, and then because you're seeing them as a negative, you are pushing away from what you're experiencing, right? So let's say that you're triggered by just negativity 1, right? So whatever you're experiencing, here comes negativity, and that triggers you, whatever you see, okay? And whether that be a color, a person, a thing, a place, whatever it is that you see or you interpret as a negative thing, you see that, you have that experience, you say, no, this isn't for me, and you walk away, or you begin to build this paradigm in your head of like, oh, anytime I see that, that's going to be negative for me. I'm going to have a negative experience anytime I see that. And you start looking for it. You start walking around, you're like, oh, where's that negative thing at? This is a really good moment right here. Where is it? There it is. I knew I'd see it, right? And so you start blocking your blessings. You start blocking your own path to that divine timing and to success. So what I'm urging you to do is to start trying to see things in a positive light and notice, and when those things happen, okay, I'm being triggered right now. Why am I being triggered? Why does this trigger me? What is happening within me that allows that to be a trigger, right? What is the universe trying to tell me? And then maybe just kind of like look around, take in your surroundings, right? Think about what you've been experiencing and say, okay, this is a growth opportunity. This is an opportunity for me to take a moment out and do that thing that's kind of been in the back of my head, like I should do that, but I'm putting it off, right? Or to reconsider that thing that's been bothering me, but I'm trying to kind of block it out, right? So for instance, I've been thinking about making videos like this and talking about this kind of stuff, but I've been kind of hesitant. I've been having like the Thailand video, trying to edit that. That's on my mind. So that's making me kind of like get this backlog of videos. I haven't even uploaded my trucking videos, right? So, but then I get stuck here in the mud and I'm walking and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to sit here till I get towed out. Well, the universe starts nagging me, and I can feel that talk in the back of my head, like, so I haven't made that talk, so I haven't made that video. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know what the video will be about, right? But then I open up my phone, I hit record, kind of signifying to the universe, like, okay, I'm ready. What do you want to talk about, right? And letting the universe channel through me and speak through me. And now this video has come about, right? And I'm even learning from myself as I speak. So again, just going forward, like look at those signs that are triggering you. Look at those as symbols to do some inner growth, to do some changing, to do shadow work, to just evaluate yourself in that moment. And I'm sure that before that trigger, the universe told you something that you are aware of, but you're ignoring. And then take that as an opportunity to work on yourself and to change. See you in the next video.